I never really like to talk just to make a video. I've been checking myself since I decided that I was gonna do a YouTube, like just put more energy into this YouTube channel and just put my thoughts out here. I had to, I find my balance in these things, because I don't want to overwhelm myself. I don't want to pressure myself. And if it's not flowing, if I can't be in it, if it's something that I have to do, and if not part of my being and it's not flowing, then it's just like, then it becomes productive to my growth. And I don't care how much I'm resonating or whatever the case may be, I have to pull it back and be like, yo, what are you doing? So in checking myself and clocking myself in that kind of a way, I never do a video just to be like, I should do a video because I haven't done a video in a couple of days. I don't ever want to move like that. And so when I do make these videos, it is coming from a place of like, I have to say this right now. And then it just comes out the way that it comes out. But I did find myself for a second today, it was just like, I want to talk about something. And I was like, should I, I didn't plan to make a video, but I was just like, there was nothing really pressing on me. They were just like, you need to talk about this. So, but I would just, start to scroll on Facebook, and I come across a Steve Harvey video that was posted about an hour right before I saw it. And, I stopped listening to Steve. I don't know if I ever listened to Steve Harvey, but I did, get that other people did and somehow took him seriously in giving advice. The minute when he started telling women, like, it was before that. I don't rest my living on people's celebrities and what they say. Like, I feel like we have such different realities. Like, they don't, even if they were like regular people at one point, once you lived in a certain reality for so long, you tend to forget how like the other people are living. So I don't really take advice from those people. I don't take any advice from those people, not even financial advice. I don't take from those people because I don't think they get the reality of the reality that I consider myself a regular person is living. So they're when you can be conscious and read through the stuff that they're saying, is just all entertainment, in my opinion. So how do y'all ever take these people seriously? I don't know. But yeah, so it's, so Steve Harvey started telling women to think like a man. It's just like, it was just like this weird world that everybody think that that's okay. Like, no, why would you want to think like a man? Think like yourself, like, But anyways, I'm watching this video and it's about parenting. And he says, the caption is like, when did we start negotiating with children? And then I watched the video. It was like about 4 or 5 minutes long, and I doctor up a little. Got a little clip of it, and I'm gonna add to this video. That's the part of me where I just feel like, you can see the trauma in his advice that he's given people. You can see how the way he wants people to raise their children because of how he was raised. You can see the trauma in him just from when he was telling people to do it that way, and his thing is like, we don't negotiate with kids. When my father tells me no is no, and there's no place in where I would ask him, but why? In this clip that I'm going to attach, he says, it seriously, it's just like my father can read my thoughts. He know the thoughts that I'm thinking. And I'll be standing there and my father would say, you got something to say, boy? And I'll be like, absolutely not, sir. And I'm watching it and I'm just like, first of all, your father just created a liar. Your fear for your father has made you into a liar. Has made you into somebody who now you can't express your feelings, because you do have something to say. And because you're younger than your father, you shouldn't be allowed to say that thing that you want to say, and you think that's the proper way to raise children when you can see your own trauma just from you telling the story. You can tell that he made a liar out of you. You were completely fearful of your father.
He be standing over there looking at me like, oh, you standing over there looking like you want to say something. I'll be going, no, Dad, not me, no. My mind is completely blank. I'm not thinking a doggone thing right here.
I can tell now by the way you resonate to people, the way the kind of things that you're putting out there, that you didn't have a balanced upbringing. You didn't have a balanced parenting. And it's like, that's nobody's fault. That's not your fault. It's not even your parents' fault, because they parent you the way they know how, but it's really up to us when we come out of these kinds of situations and we can see things for a little better, to make decisions to be like, I don't have to do it that way because that's the way it was done for me. I have 2 children, right? I said I would write a parenting book, or I would feel valid in talking about parenting when my older child is 18 and I see what an 18-year-old look like that I raised, you know, how she's showing up in the world. Because right now she's 11, and you know, I see that there's a little bit more consciousness there than I see from normal 11-year-olds. So I'm like, okay, there's something that I'm doing that I can see a little bit of difference here. But I don't know if I'll be sure to really feel confident in giving advice on parenting until I've seen, like, I mean, there's some things that I've seen that we've passed certain threshold where I'm just like, okay, I think this one's stuck, you know. but I feel like at 18, I would have a clearer picture, because I know I was very intentional. I'm very intentional in my parenting, you know. So the things that I was very intentional about, I'm watching to see what's the progress in that. What's the outcome after 2 years of this? What's the outcome after 18 years of this? What's the outcome? And then I feel like, okay, I can say something about, you know, parenting, because I feel like my kids are pretty dope. And but this back to this, why do kids need to negotiate with their parents? Why are we letting our children negotiate? And it's just like, and in his clip, when you watch the thing, he was like, because kids are stupid, you shouldn't let them. I'm like, oh my God, like, what kids are you around? You know, because my kids are pretty dope, but also, like, I have parents, my kids friends with, you know, their friends, and I'm friends with their parents, and you know, and we all have kind of similar mindset on how we're raising our children, and the understanding of how much we can learn from them. The understanding that humility, to really be a good parent, like to really be a good parent, the humility that it takes to really sit and listen to a child and not just automatically just be like, because I'm the parent, you have nothing to say. You shouldn't even have a thought that you should express. No negotiation. And you have these children who grow up and you have this distance relationship with your children, and you wonder why. Like, I come from Africa. We don't have nursing homes where I come from, you know? And we don't have nursing homes because it's just not a concept, you know, because the old people, the connection between the people, the family, the father, the mother, the children, those connections are so strong that it's just an understanding. It's a cycling, you know what I'm saying? You take care of the young. As you get older, they take care of you. And it's just a cycle that happens when you put the intention and the care there for your children in that way. But it's not like that here, because everything is so individual and divided. And that's when you create these children who have no opinions, you know, and then they do things out there that shock you. You know, your children, you'll get a call one day and you'll be like, your kid did this. And it's just like, oh, not my kid. Just like, yeah, you're a kid. You don't know you're a kid. Your kid's not allowed to have an opinion. Your kid is not allowed to disagree with you. Your kid is not allowed to say how they feel. So they go out there and they express themselves, their true selves, on what they're interpreting themselves to be now. They express it in a way that's completely different from what you expect them to be. And you just like, I can't believe this kid did this. Yeah, well, we can't believe it. But the reality is you don't know your kid. You know a zombie version of yourself that you're raising as a child, because they have to do everything accordingly. Not even a zombie version of you, a zombie version of the self you want to be. Because the things that we even require of children, we don't even do it. We're not even there yet. We're not even there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I check myself in that all the time. And like, when you're around me, you're around my children, it would look like I do let my kids do whatever, right? It would look like I let my kids do whatever. But whatever my kids are getting away with or they're doing is something that I haven't grown from yet, you know? And I probably try to communicate it to them and do it this way and do it that way, but they're watching me. And once I realize that, it's like I can't discipline them or I can't tell them to do something a certain way if I'm not able to do it that way, if I haven't been able to do it that way. You know, but when I find, and this parenting has been the biggest lesson, like to grow your consciousness, and you really get, you know, conscious and focused and present and intentional about parenting, is just really like your own self-growth. Because these kids, you know, humans, we develop, we grow, the world is evolving, and they're just going to evolve naturally, you know. So you provide, you know, stability for them, you provide nurture, you provide, you know, nurturing, you provide love, you provide all the necessities, right? And then you let them evolve into the world naturally. But when you start putting your stuff on them, when you start making them into a model citizen of what you think it should be and the rules and all of these things that you haven't even done yet, things that you haven't even grown from yet, and you expect your children to grow from that, like, they see you. They see you. My kids see me. Whenever, like, if I'm stern with them about something, it's probably something that I've noticed that they've been doing, and I noticed that they picked it up from me. And I haven't been aware of it until my older one becomes a mirror. Just to be like, she'll do something real funky, and it would trigger me. Like, it would trigger me, and I'll just be like, why does that trigger me so much? And I don't react. Whenever they do things that trigger me, I don't react first. I analyze why it triggered me, because usually, most of the time, it points back to me, yo. It points back to me, and then I fix that thing in me because I didn't like the way it looked on her, right? So I was like, I don't like the way that looked on her. And she is just, you know, replaying a version of myself back to me. And since I don't like the way it looked on her, it probably don't look that great on me neither, you know? And then I go in, and then I do the work. And then I'd be like, okay, this is what I'm aware of. You know, and here's the thing, and I communicate it. Once I've grown from that, I communicate it. But then still, once I shift that in me, it shifts in them. It's amazing. Parenting is only hard. Parenting is only hard because you really have to parent yourself. You have to watch your thoughts. You have to watch your words. You can't tell your kids to be respectful and you're not respectful to them. You know, you can't tell your kids to honor you and you don't honor them. Steve Harvey advice is horrible. You know, negotiate with your kids. They might have insights that you haven't even thought about. They might bring something new to the forefront. And the humility part, when I talk about having humility in raising children, is the part. The humility part is, it's hard for parents to humble to their children. And it's hard because it's like, you brought this little person into the world. Their whole survival is dependent upon what you do for them, right? So it's very difficult for us to be like, why do I have to listen to somebody who depends wholeheartedly on me? Their survival depends on what I'm doing. So you're gonna have to do it the way that I'm doing it. And somehow that's the justification in Steve Harvey's, in his analysis of how children, you know, should be treated. Is just like, I do everything for you. Why would you can't even talk back? And it was just like, well, you do everything for them because they can't do it for themselves. You know, and they didn't ask to come here. You knew you had to do all that stuff for them when you brought them in here. But that's not a reason to strip away their humanity because you do everything for them. You still have to treat them like real human beings, you know. You still have to communicate like the same way you treat your friends, the respect level that you give your friends. You communicate with them. You make things clear so they don't misunderstand you. You know, I mean, yes, there's guidelines. There's certain things that kids don't know and they think they know. And you can be strong and stern in certain things like that and put your foot down on certain things. But this whole idea of like, you're a kid and you shouldn't have anything to say or what you have to say of no value is absolutely wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And it's not the way. Look at our world, you know, it's not the way.